Give me a sec. Okay, we are recording. Okay, you're good to go. We're recording and you're live streaming.
Okay, welcome everybody. This is the April 23rd meeting of the Danbury Zoning Board of Appeals, not being held on Deer Hill Avenue, but as you know, being held on a Zoom as a virtual meeting. Got a rather long preamble here, but I want to move along and get into this, just kind of explaining there are instructions, as you know, or anyone else who may be tuning in to the meeting, to watch live stream on the Danbury, Connecticut webpage, danbury-ct.gov. Get to the planning and zoning section, to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Do we know anything more about that sound, Sharon? That's better.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. We are live streaming and video recording, which is required to be passed on to the city website, posted on the city website. Identifies everyone who's participating with their phone number, name, as it appears. The Danbury Zoning Board of Appeals will proceed following the agenda as posted, as is standard practice. Commissioners, please use the raise hand function in Zoom if you have a question during a portion of the meeting. Just to say that again, I don't know how it works on your iPhone, Michael. I don't know if it does or not, but if you click on the middle of the bottom of your screen that says participants, it brings up a screen. You can kind of minimize it a little bit. At the bottom of that, there's a raise hand icon. So if, again, in the interest of being as smooth and as complete in terms of doing due diligence of identifying everyone, we'll try using raise the hand. Give me a second to get to you. For example, if someone is in the middle of their presentation and there's a question that comes up, raise your hand. If I don't see it right away, and there's not a lot of other noise, then just go ahead and speak out. But we'll try and identify each other as we go along, and we'll do votes by roll call.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just interject for a second, if anybody can you just turn off all, I'm going to mute everybody but Rodney to try to stop that noise.
It's Joe Hannah's phone. That's what's doing it.
Yeah, that's what pops up on mine.
Yeah, it is. It's the one that's, yes. You can see that's the speaker, so to speak. Yes.
Okay. All right. I guess we're good for right now.
All right. If any questions or comments on the agenda items were submitted via email to Sharon Calithro, as posted on the virtual meeting instructions, those comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. There are some letters on some of the files, and we'll get to those. For the public, after the applicant's presentation in the public hearing portion of the meeting, and after the commissioners have asked questions, I will open the meeting to public comments. In other words, the standard is anyone else in favor, opposed to the application. Those wishing to speak in favor or against, please also raise your hand. That may be difficult because that's not something everybody knows, but we'll cross that bridge. Or if you're on the telephone, just speak out. We'll do our best to identify everyone who wishes to speak. We ask that those on a phone line, please mute your phone until you're called upon. That kind of applies to everybody. All speakers must state their name, title, and address for the recording before speaking. Not any different than standing up at the podium and doing the same thing. Voting by board members will be by roll call. So we'll go down the roll so that it's clear who's voting and how. And I ask that you all be patient and respect the meeting, only to speak when called upon, when all possible, and we'll get through this. With that said, I'll read the legal notice. 3 of these items were advertised in one way, the 4th a little different, and I'll differentiate as I go through the legal notice. This is notice applications to be heard by the Zoning Board of Appeals, a public hearing based on a meeting hosted on Zoom, April 23rd, 2020. Public hearings. Legal notices for these were published through the normal Danbury News Times twice, actually. And they are application number 20-07, Faraya Carmelo, Socam Drive. Item number 20-08, Rich Rob Associates, 14 to 22 Granville Avenue. And item number 20-09, City of Danbury, Rose Hill Avenue. The fourth application tonight was done a little differently pursuant to the executive order number 7-I. Notice is hereby given that item number 20-10 will also be heard. And this was advertised on the website, and there are some exceptions to the normal way of advertising this due to the governor's executive order 7I, section 19C. And that is application number 20-10, Plum Trees Plaza LLC, Newtown, 63 Newtown Road. Do I have a motion to hear these four items? Mr. Hannah?
Yeah.
Mr. Hannah makes a motion to accept these. A second?
Second,
Second. That second is seconded by who?
Tony Ribeiro.
Oh, Tony. Thanks, Tony. So second by Tony. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All in favor,
Aye.
passed unanimously. Okay, as per usual, applicant comes forward, states the case. And there's questions and answers with the board. If at that point there's anyone else who also wishes to stand up or sit up and speak on behalf of the applicant in favor, fine. And then we'll ask any other public comment that may be against that. At that point, if there's any opposition, the applicant has an opportunity to rebut that. So application number, you know what? Let me do two things first. I'm sorry. Let's do two things just for the sake of the record. Let me do a roll call and just please answer present when I do this. Mr. Rivera,
Present.
Mr. Sibbett,
Present.
Mr. Ribeiro.
I said present already, sorry.
Okay, present. And again, my name is Rod Moore, acting chair and present. To get this out of the way now, I want to do one thing very quickly, and that's it's at the first thing on our agenda. We don't often do it this way, but I would like to do it this way tonight. And that's the acceptance of the minutes from February 27th. I jumped ahead of myself there. And we do have 4 people that were at that meeting that can vote to do this. So I'm looking for, if you've had a chance to review the minutes, hopefully they were sent out, the draft version. This would be the minutes of the meeting of February 27th. Mr. Hannah was there, I was there, Mr. Rivas was there, and Mr. Sibbett was there. Is there a motion to accept those meetings as posted? Mr. Sibbett,
I make a motion to accept the minutes of February 27th as submitted.
second? Anyone seconding that motion? Anybody?
I second him if I wasn't there.
Okay.
No.
All right, we need a, yes, we need Mr. Rivera, motion. Mr. Hannah, are you there? You second that motion? Can you hear us?
Is Mr. Rivas?
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear Joe now.
Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah. I
All right.
second the motion.
You second the motion. All in favor of accepting those minutes?
Aye. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor. Motion approved. All right. And Joe, Mr. Hannah, I would like for you, if you would just acknowledge the fact that you can hear us, we can hear you, that you've got all the materials for each of the applications tonight. You have reviewed them and you're ready to proceed. Could you do that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us, just repeat what I said. So, just for the record,
I re-
acknowledge it.
I reviewed the agenda and the meeting and and I approve. I don't know.
Okay.
Too much noise here in that phone.
You're getting some feedback or something. I don't know if you have headphones you could use with your phone or something that might help alleviate that. I don't know.
I reviewed the minute. I approve.
Okay. So you're ready to go ahead with the first one then? You can hear everything for our first applicant?
Yeah.
Okay. First applicant under new business is.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Did we lose Juan Rivas on the call? I don't see him anymore.
Oh, that's not good.
He's gone.
Yeah, I don't see him either.
Well, we really need him for
Well, you really do.
the quorum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We have
Like-
4. We would much prefer to have 5, of course.
Would you like me to try to reach him by phone?
Yeah, would you do that, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Hello, Juan. This is Mary. Did we lose you on the? All right, his internet just went down. How would you like to proceed? He's trying to reconnect.
Is there a way he could connect with his cell phone?
That's what he's trying to do as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we end up with continued troubles, we do have the option of proceeding with just 4 members, which means, as I'm pretty sure you're all aware, a vote to approve an application requires 4 out of 5. When there's a 4-man board, of course, that means a unanimous vote. And at that point, it's your option to proceed based on that or not. Either that or continue or postpone to another meeting. So you can consider that as far as proceed. If you're willing to proceed with a 4-man board, just know that would require a unanimous decision if we can't get somebody else lined up here.
For the record, I'd be willing to move forward on the first one up. It's Attorney
Okay.
Steve Demora on behalf
Okay.
of Camillo and Mylene Ferrer.
All right. Let's move forward then with that one. And if we can get resolve our issues, technical issues, great. So, okay, Mr. Demora, you're up.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you providing us with this venue. I know it's obviously a tremendous undertaking. I'm here before the board to look for an application that I'm filing on behalf of Camilo and Mylene Ferrero. It's 17 Silcam Drive. This is the law office of Stephen Boa Demora. I'm Stephen Demora, and I would like to direct you to the map. If I don't know if it can be pulled up, or if all the members could at least look at it here. What we're trying to do, and what I hope is a fairly straightforward application, is for you to look at the map and see that the what we're dealing with is a current property, a current building, and we're looking to do additions. And in order to do that, it requires side setbacks from 25 to 19 and from 25 to 23.1 feet. We have a fortunate situation here where the neighbors are on board. One of his side neighbors is actually a very good friend of his. And we have here a hardship because of the irregular lot shape. You can see it's an existing property with an existing structure with a unique lot. It's not a squared lot, so it makes it very difficult, almost impossible to do anything without procuring the variance.
Mr. Demora?
Yes.
If Sharon, if you allow me to share my screen, I can share my screen of the map. If you would want us to do that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I know we have all probably have seen the map or have copies of the map. I don't know, Michael, you've seen it, Tony, Joe.
I think it would be.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, you just have to have it open in another tab in order to share that.
Yeah, but you've disabled participants to be able to do screen sharing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead. No, you're good. Should be good.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
For a second.
All right. Okay, everybody see that?
Yep.
There you go.
Pardon me, could I interject for 1 second? Is that,
Sure.
This is Bob Batello. Peter DeLucia said he's been trying to call in for the last half hour and hasn't been able to get in as another commission member. So I gave him the number that he's supposed to be calling, so he's probably trying to get in now if you're looking for that fifth person.
Okay, all right.
Sharon, Peter said he's been calling for the last half hour and it says the meeting hasn't started and it's not going through.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't
Mary-
see him waiting. I just tried to admit somebody, but I don't see it. I don't see him trying to get in.
Can,
No.
can Mary call Peter and then bring him in
Yeah,
that way?
I'm here.
He's
Oh,
there.
Peter's in. Now he's in.
Okay, here you go. I've been trying since 6:30.
Okay, he's in.
All right, Peter, so you are now in. So now, in lieu of Mr. Hanna, we now have alternate Peter DeLucia being our fifth board member, for the record.
Pardon
No,
me. Pardon
yeah.
me.
Instead of
Mr.
Juan.
Chairman, in lieu of Juan Rivas.
Oh, and one, I'm sorry, yes, in lieu of you, yes, in lieu of Mr. Rivas, we have Mr., okay, we have Mr. DeLucia. All right, with that said, back to this map. Can everyone, I'm sharing my screen for the moment. You can all see that. So go ahead, Mr. Demore, if you want to
Yeah.
reference this map.
And I apologize. I'm on my cell phone, so this is even harder to do than I thought it would be. But just to recap for the new member that's here, it's what I hope to be a fairly straightforward application in that we have an existing structure on a property that has an unusual shape. And we're looking for side yard setbacks to be reduced from 25 feet to 19 foot on one side as per the map, and 25 to 23.1 foot, 23.1 feet on the other side. And we're fortunate enough in this situation to have neighbors that seem to be on board. One side neighbor happens to be a good friend of my client, and it is an expansion of the property, obviously for the purposes of helping with a growing family. And again, given the circumstances, is certainly a hardship there that we have, and we would appreciate a granting of the variance. I have the homeowner here, one of the homeowners, Camilo, and myself to answer any questions that you guys may have. But again, I'm hoping that I'm not missing the boat here, but I'm hoping that it's fairly straightforward when you see the map and the shape of the property and what we're trying to do and the limitations with the current regulations on the setbacks.
Okay. I have one question, and that's this. I hopefully you can see it a little better on your screens. I blew up where the proposed addition 25 by 30 is. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
That's the set, well, it's one of the two setbacks that we're talking about. And I was just curious, you're about 1.9 feet without having to have a variance there. Was there any way to design this so you could not go over the 25-foot line there?
Not because of the septic fields and stuff in the back. If we were to step it back a little bit to gain that 1 foot on the side, we would lose our requirements for the fields.
And I'm sorry for failing to introduce my client, Camilo Ferreira,
Yes.
is the homeowner.
All right. Yeah, record show the homeowner, Nella Coera, is providing testimony. Okay. Any other questions from the board?
I have a
No.
question, sorry.
And I'm sorry, again, just identify yourself.
Juan Rivas,
Oh, Juan,
I
thank you.
lost internet and I apologize to
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
about that. I tried to get back as soon as I could. Just a quick question on the addition to the 4x16. I just wanted to know what was being proposed there.
That's gonna be a bump out to add a master bedroom and bathroom, walk-in closet.
Okay,
Because that used to be existing garage. That's the garage now.
okay,
We want to close the garage. That 25 by 30 is going to be the garage, the new
Okay.
garage.
okay,
And that's going to be a little bump out in the front to add a little more space to the bedroom and bathroom.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, anyone else want to speak in favor of this application? Anyone in opposition? Okay, with that, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing number 20-7.
I make a motion to close the hearing for 2007.
All right, motion made by Mr. Hannah, second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, and just before we vote, we are back to voting. Let's make sure we're clear here. Juan Riveros is back. Self, Mr. Sibbett, Mr. Ribeiro, and Mr. Hannah. We now have Peter DeLucia on board as well if we have any more technical issues, but Peter will stay here as an observer, and those are the 5 voting members. So there's
Okay.
a
right, so-
vote. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, we have 5. The 6th person just walked in?
Yeah, we got 1 back, so there should be 6 now, counting you.
Okay, so I'm gonna be just an observer now, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yes, thank you, Peter. Yeah, we got, you're the 6th man, as we said earlier today.
In
on
the
the
end.
Yeah, right. All right. So we have a motion to approve this. Let us go by roll call. All those in favor, let me just go down the roll. Mr. Hannah, how do you vote?
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Mr. Moore.
Yeah.
We didn't have a motion to approve. We had a motion to close.
I'm sorry, we had a motion to close. Yes, yes. Well, I'm thinking about those, the test, the tonight at 8 o'clock, we're picking those football teams. I'm gonna get my head back in the game, okay? All right, we have closed this public hearing. We will now go into a voting session. Sean, do we need a motion to go to the voting session or just do it? I'm not sure. We haven't done this piecemeal before.
In the past, we always did a vote to go to the voting session. So, I mean, that would be just
We're gonna
keep
do a lot.
going with what we're doing before, unless Sharon, you have anything that,
No, I would just make a motion to move
go to
this
voting.
to a voting,
Yeah.
old business, and then you could dispose of it and go back to the next one.
Okay, motion to go into a voting session for 20-07 and 20-07 only. Anyone want to make that motion?
I make a motion
I
to
make
move
a motion.
20.
All right, Michael makes a motion to go in that session. I think, Mr. Hannah, you are seconding that
Yeah.
motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, is there a motion on this application to approve or deny? Any other comments?
I make a motion to approve 2007 Ferrera, Camillo, and Malene Silcam Drive 17, K 08035 RA 40 zone, reduce minimum side yard setback from 25 to 19 feet, reduce minimum side yard setback from 25 to 23.1 feet for a proposed addition per plan submitted.
All right, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Sibbett seconds. All in favor, let me just run down the, Mr.
Aye.
Rivero.
Aye.
All in favor, Mr. Rivero,
Aye.
Mr. Sibbett,
Aye.
Mr. Rivas,
Aye.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes, aye.
and I vote in favor. So the motion is, and the application is approved unanimously. All right.
Thank you very much.
Do we need to close that voting session, Sean, or can we just make a motion to go
You
into?
can go right to the, you can go right to the opening up 20-08.
All right, 20-08 it is. Next application is 20-08. Rich Rob Associates LLC, Granville Avenue, 14 to 22 Granville Avenue, Section 4B4H, to reduce minimum side yard from 28 feet to 4.8 feet. Section 4B4H3, access from collector or arterial road. And Section 9C2B, expansion of non-conforming structure side setback. Is there someone here to speak in favor of this?
I would like to, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Beecher will be representing the applicant.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Tom Beecher for the record, and I represent Rich Rob Associates LLC and Bob Botello, who's the principal of Rich Rob Associates. Bob is on the phone here with us tonight. Dinas Verbikis, I don't believe, has joined us for this application. He's the project engineer. As you probably all know, the Danbury school system's in need of more space, more classrooms, probably additional new schools as well. And the Danbury school system has approved this particular site and this proposed building for school use, and a lease, in fact, has been entered into for using this property for a school. It's a 5-year lease. And of course, that's subject to land use approvals such as ZBA variance approvals. We have a letter from the Danbury Public Schools, and I'll read that into the record because we submitted within the last 24 hours. And although all you members may have it, the public may not have been able to see it on the website. From the Danbury Public Schools, it's addressed to the Danbury Zoning Board of Appeals, dated April 21, 2020. To whom it may concern. The Danbury Public Schools entered into a 5-year lease with Rich Rob Associates and Robert Botello for the property located at 22 Granville, Danbury, for the purpose of operating a preschool. As part of that lease agreement, Rich Rob Associates is undertaking significant renovations to the property, including an addition on the existing property to maximize the building as a school. For this reason, we support the pending application before your commission. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any additional questions. Kimberly Mango Thompson, legal counsel to the Board of Education on behalf of the Danbury Public Schools. So that's the letter that we received from the Danbury Public Schools. Obviously, this is not going to be a large school. It's going to be more like a neighborhood school. A school is permitted in this residential zone, which is the RMF4 zone. So this is not a use variance that we're requesting. However, there are certain specific requirements for a school in the RMF4 zone, and those are found in section 4B4. We can comply with most of those requirements. However, one of the requirements for schools, and it's under a one-size-fits-all zoning regulation, is that the school is supposed to be located on an arterial or a collector street. And those are the major thoroughfares in the city of Danbury by definition. Now, Granville, where this is located, is a short street. It runs between Osborne and White Street. White Street is, in fact, an arterial street. And I was surprised to find out that Osborne is neither a collector nor an arterial street, because it certainly is used like an arterial or collector road, but in fact, it's not on the list. And what do I mean by a one-size-fits-all regulation? This applies to schools. Well, it's going to apply to a school, whether it's a school for 1,000 students or for 50 preschoolers. And so that's part of the issue here. The idea behind the one-size-fits-all regulation is probably to avoid having buses traveling on a number of small roads to get to a school. In this particular case, Granville's a short street, like I said, between Osborne and White Street. And the buses already travel on White Street and Osborne Street. So this is not going to be any detriment whatsoever in terms of bus traffic. With respect to the other two variances that we have requested, those both go hand in hand. The existing building is non-conforming and a portion of it is located 4.8 feet from the side yard on the southern side of the property. That southern side yard backs up to the Antos family property, which is used for the Light Rock Spring Water Company. A number of properties on Holly's Lane, as well as adjacent to this site, are used for that business. And the proposed addition on the back of the current building is going to be added, and that will also face the Light Rock property commercial business on the rear of the property as well as the side. We are proposing, despite our application, we are proposing to go no closer than 6 feet to that sideline, as opposed to our original application, which said we were looking to go 4.8 feet, which is what the current closest distance of the building to the current building to that south sideline is. Nevertheless, the addition between the work of Dynas and the architect, we are going to, with the addition, stay at least 6 feet away from that south side setback or south boundary for the addition. So if you're kind enough to grant this variance, we are looking for that particular one to go to no more than 6 feet. Because we're expanding the sideline nonconformity with this proposed addition, we also need a variance of section 9C2B. And that's why I said those particular variances go hand in hand, because we are in fact taking a pre-existing building that's non-conforming and we're expanding it out the rear to still be non-conforming, but not quite as non-conforming, because we're looking for 6 feet, not the 4.8 feet that exists. As I mentioned, Light Rock surrounds this property on the side and the rear. And across the street from this property is St. Anthony's Church, which its buildings are also used for school and classroom uses. So this use would be consistent with them. And St. Anthony's has been there for a long time. Next to St. Anthony's on one side is the Jowdy Kane Funeral Home. And on the other side of St. Anthony's is a vacant lot. At the south end of Granville, you have the Holiday Diner, you have a car repair facility behind the Holiday Diner. There's a commercial building, I think there's a hair salon and a couple other businesses in there. So this particular school use, small as it is, will have very little impact on this particular neighborhood. Bob, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Tom.
Would you like to say a little more about the project or not?
Yes, I would. I'd like to take the opportunity. This is Bob Botello, Danbury resident. My companies are Rich Rob Associates as well as Victorian Associates, which basically I'm probably better known for the Victorian Associates because I've done a lot of the residential apartment complexes around the city. And basically, this Rich Rob was a situation because I had a partnership with my brother that's no longer with me. And but long story short is that I first of all want to thank all the commission members for making the extra effort to come in and do this meeting with such unusual circumstances. It's a stress and strain on everyone. I really appreciate the fact that you've given us the time and the availability to do this. The application presented before you represents an effort between the Board of Education and myself to come up with a solution to accommodate the shortage of space for our students. I purchased the Baptist church with the thoughts of helping a faltering church, which is the Baptist church, which was basically ready to go out of business. And I worked with them and told them that, committed to them that I would work with them to rebuild the church. And the fact that they had this school that was attached to it, in my line of work was that down the line that I would be making that part, because it's an RMF4, that I'd be using it to build a residential complex and still maintain the church. Not thinking that I'd ever be sitting or talking to you about a school. But I basically, after I realized what the situation was and was advised by a lot of people around town about the shortage of the need for school space, I started to talk to different people. And once I talked to the school board and they saw the building, they became very excited because it happens to be in the area where they really need a school. And so it's and the school they want to put there would be for preschool, which would be for the 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. And the reason why we need the addition and the hardship with that is that for me to be able to take care of 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, I have to put an elevator in the building, and it has to have certain conditions with space, and that basically the requirements that you have for 3, 4, and 5 preschool is much more rigid than you do for junior high school or even elementary school. So basically, it was a challenge, and we had a numerous number of meetings, and now the school is very excited about the possibility of bringing this program to that area because it fits and the property lends itself to making a really beautiful school, and it'll be safe, and I plan on making it very nice. But basically, we've done a lot of architectural and engineering. To this point of the application, a lot of time, effort, and a lot of interest has gone into this project. So that basically at the end of the day, you're looking at, we'll have 180 students plus the teachers and nurse, principal, and assistant. And basically that's...
Thanks, Bob. So again, in addition to the fact that it's surrounded by CG20 property in the form of the Light Rock Company, on the north side that I haven't talked about, Mr. Botello's other LLC, Victorian Associates, owns those properties which are on the corner of Osborne and Granville. And then in addition, next to those properties is a property owned by Alberto Da Silva. And I think all of you have a copy of the letter that Mr. Da Silva wrote in favor, but again, I'll read that into the record as well. It's dated March 15th, 2020 to the City of Danbury Zoning Board of Appeals. I, Alberto Da Silva of 12 Osborne Street, Danbury, Connecticut, have reviewed the application with Robert Botello of Rich Rob Associates pertaining to the variance request for the property next door and have no objections. Sincerely, Alberto Da Silva. So there will be a small school on 1 2/3 acres. That's the size of this particular property. The minimum size for a school in the RMF4 zone is 1 acre. So this well exceeds that minimum. The result of these variances will not in any way be detrimental to the neighborhood. It won't have any impact on health, safety, or welfare. It's a good proposal, I think, and it would allow the property to be used for permitted use. And we'd ask you to grant the variances. And thank you very much.
Okay,
I
thank
personally
you.
want to thank everyone on the commission. And the other thing I want to mention is that going back not too many years ago, Osborne Street was not a very attractive street. And since I've gotten down there and I've started redoing the buildings that I own, and Joe De Silva is doing one on Hospital Avenue. We now have Gus De Silva that's working on his buildings. He opened up the lots. I'm very, very excited about the future of Osborne Street. Back 5-10 years ago, it did not have a really good name and didn't have a really good look. But I think the future looks really bright, and adding this school and what we plan to do is only going to enhance and make the neighborhood that much nicer. So at this point, I really appreciate and would thank the commission to seriously look at this and come on board to help us out. So thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. How many students did you say? It's a preschool. How many students are projected to be there?
There'll be 180 students there, plus
180.
teachers.
Okay, that's a lot of noise.
There'll be 10 classrooms, and they have 18 students per classroom.
Okay, all right. And then the church will stay there functioning as a church, the existing building?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I have made a commitment to the church. I don't know if anyone's driven by, but the Baptist church was ready to fold their tent, and I said, I would like to see and help you and make your building beautiful, and hopefully that you would be able to attract a bigger congregation. But what works out nice is that they're there only on Wednesdays and Sundays, and the school's there obviously Monday through Friday. So it was a cooperative effort to make a deal between the school and the church, so that the church is going to let the school use their parish hall, which will be part of the recreational area for the children. So they'll have an indoor playground, and we're going to have 2 outdoor playgrounds. And my intention is to make this a state-of-the-art school with high technology. It's going to have very strong safety, and it's just going to be a gorgeous, beautiful building with beautiful parking and a lot of landscaping. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at the designs that we've been putting forth, but a lot of the time and effort has gone into it. And I can only assure you that it'll be something that all of us can be proud of.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, have you all either been by the property or seen the map? You got a pretty good handle on the layout and the proposed building? I know you've got the materials.
I have.
Pardon me?
Yes.
I've been by the property.
Okay, all right. Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
No questions. All right. Anybody else here tonight to speak in favor? Anyone here opposed? No opposition. Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on 20-08.
Make a motion, we close number 20-08 Rich Rob Associates LLC, 14-22 Granville Avenue, RMF 4 zone. Reduce minimum side yard from 25 to 4.8, and access from collector or arterial street, expansion of non-conforming structure, side setback.
Okay, Mr. Rivas has made a motion to close the public hearing. A second?
Second.
Mr. Sibbett seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I am looking for a motion to open executive voting session for 20-08.
Make a motion to open the voting session for 20-08.
Mr. Ribeiro makes a motion. Second?
Second.
Michael Sibbett seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments and/or a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Mr. Hannah makes a motion to approve the application. Second?
Second.
Okay,
Excuse me, Mr. Moore,
yeah,
is this per plan submitted?
yes, it is. In fact, Joe, would you mind reading the actual variances requested again and add that to your motion?
Yes. I make a motion. I don't.
think we lost him.
Yeah.
We did.
Go on faith that he did.
All right.
Listen, let somebody else make the motion because I got a lot of noise here.
Okay, let's, who would like to make a motion, including what the application is actually for and adding per plan submitted, et cetera?
I make a motion to approve 20-08 Rich Rob Associates LLC, Granville Avenue, RMF 4 zone, section 4B4H2, reduce minimum side yard from 25 feet to 4.8 feet. Section 4B4H3, access from collector or arterial street. Section 9C2B, expansion of non-conforming structure side setback per plan submitted.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Barrow. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now, any opposed? None opposed? The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My assurance to you is that I will make something beautiful and once again that hopefully we'll all be proud of.
We look forward to it.
Yes.
All right, next application is 20-09. City of Danbury, Rose Hill Avenue, 89 and 95 Franklin Street, to section 4D3A, reduce minimum lot width from setback from 125 feet to 102 feet. This is the RH3 zone. Anyone here to represent the City of Danbury this evening?
Hi, this is Antonio Idarola. I am here representing application 20-09. I am the Public Works Director and the City Engineer, and will be acting on behalf of the City of Danbury tonight.
Okay. Tell us your rationale.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Thank you again for hearing us tonight on this very important application. I want to just give you a very, very quick history. This is the old Mallory Hat Factory site. And the city was fortunate enough a couple years ago to secure a $1.3 million grant to initiate what is a pretty extensive cleanup of the site. This would be the second phase and final cleanup of the site. In meeting the requirements of that grant, in addition to dealing with the most incredible flood management requirement that that grant has, and in addition to the fact that there is a river, Still River, that is partially underground and partially open on the site, we had to basically segregate this lot into two lots. Parcel 1, and I don't know if you can share the subdivision map that's dated, it was received by Planning and Zoning on March 10th, 2020. I can maybe walk you through it real quick. It would help the rest of the commission members.
All right, let me just bring it up here. Give me 1 second. And you're talking about subdivision map. Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, and I can blow that up a little bit. How's that?
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you for doing that. What you're seeing is a subdivision map that actually has been sent to the Department of Economic Development, who is our grant administrating agency. They've blessed this, and tonight we're here to basically secure a variance in order to be able to file the subdivision map and allow the future building of the Women's Center transitional home. So this used to be one parcel, and right now it's broken into two parcels. Parcel 2 is on the northern and eastern side of the Still River. What's important to note here is that the entire Still River, the above ground and underground portion, is all on parcel number 2, which is what's gonna, what I will show you is driving the necessity of the variance that we're here to secure tonight. Parcel number 1 will be the future home of the Women's Center Transitional Home development. Based on the use, very unique zoning requirement that changes the width of the lot based on the use, it puts us into a requirement of 125 foot of frontage measured behind the front setback line. We currently have 102.7. The reason why we have 102.7 is to facilitate keeping the underground Still River culvert on the parcel number 2, which will be retained by the city, which will facilitate future maintenance that may be needed and helps us deal with the contamination cleanup in addition to the flood management that we just secured from the Department of Environmental Protection. So that is what's driving it. If that culvert was not there, we would have no problem securing the 125-foot frontage, because as you can clearly see, we have plenty of frontage to be able to do that. But what is driving this variance is specifically, as I stated, the hardship as it relates to the location of the existing Still River culvert and some of the needs and necessity that have been determined would be the best way to approach and mitigate the issues of our grant, which we've gotten a blessing with the subdivision map from the Department of Economic Development. So I'm here to answer any questions you have. I know the Women's Center folks are also, I think, on the call tonight. Should you have any other questions pertaining to operations. But if you're driven by the site, you will see that we actually were granted approval to start the extensive mitigation measure and mitigation work. And we've been out there for about 2 or 3 days now doing that work. That's pretty much my presentation. Again, for the record, the zoning regulation that we're looking for a variance is 4.D.3A, and that is the minimum lot width for garden apartment, townhouses, apartment houses, and all others. Unfortunately, we fall under the all others based on the use that the Women's Center is proposing on doing. And Mr. Chairman, that's all I have. I'm here to take any questions you or the rest of the commission members may have.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if you can see this little red dot right here on the map on parcel 2. You see that? Are you seeing that little pointer
Yeah.
there?
Yes.
I was just, did you see this here? I'm just curious as to, I can't quite read what that is.
So, Mr. Chairman, that is a opening that is on the underground section of the culvert.
Okay.
And if you look at the property line just south or down towards the bottom of the page, that property line pretty much mimics the location of the existing underground culvert. It pretty much parallels the underground culvert, and it's about 5 feet away from the culvert, just to allow for any potential repairs that may be needed. But yes, the underground culvert starts exactly where you were pointed. That's actually riprap. And then you will
Okay.
see a couple of the square openings to your right on the piece of paper.
Yeah.
And those are basically ports, the old ports that the factory had in dumping whatever they dumped into that river years and years ago.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Nope.
No.
No further questions. Anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Anyone opposed? No opposition. I will entertain. Joe, are you back? Can you hear us? Are you able to take Hello, Joe?
Yes, I
Okay,
can hear you.
all right. So you heard, any questions from you, just to make sure? You probably weren't able to see the map, but you may have one in front of you there.
I'm fine with that, very familiar. I used to live
Yep.
around the corner.
All right, okay. No one else in favor? No one opposed? I'm looking for a motion to close the public hearing on 20-09.
I make a motion to close the public hearing on 2009, City of Danbury.
Mr. Sibbett makes a
I
motion to
second.
close.
Second.
Mr. Hannah seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Look for a motion to go into a voting session for voting on the application 20-09. Is there a motion to go into voting on this?
I make a motion.
Mr. Sibbett makes a motion. Mr. Hannah seconds. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Any questions, comments?
I have to read the motion, no?
Yes.
Yeah, but
Not to go to the voting.
If you want to make a motion to vote, you need to obviously read the whole, what we're voting on. You know, the specifics of the application. If you're making a motion to approve or not approve or whatever your motion might be.
Yeah. I make a motion to approve 2009 City of Danbury Road 11, 89 and 95 and Franklin Street 26. H13166, H13117, H13033, -3 zone. As per plan submitted, it doesn't affect the well-being and the safety of the community and as per plan submitted.
Okay, is there a second? Mr. Ribeiro seconds that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for all the members.
Well, thank you.
Nice job, Mr. Chairman.
This is exciting. Mr. Hannah sounds like he's in outer space. Mr. Hawley looks like he's in outer space. So
That is a cool background.
yeah, it is. I love those virtual backgrounds. Yeah.
Looks like he.
Okay. The next application, this will take a moment to read, okay? But we need to read it anyway, I guess. This is application number 20-10. And this was delivered this notice for this one is the one that was delivered electronically to the town clerk and posted online. And that is 20-10 Plum Trees Plaza LLC, Newtown Road, 63 Newtown Road, section LI 2018 and CG 20 zone. Section 5A3, to increase maximum building coverage from 30% to 31%. Section 5H1B, to eliminate the 20-foot front yard planting strip required along Newtown Road, and to permit parking, drive-through lane, and driveway aisles within this 20-foot strip along Newtown Road. Section 5H2, to permit parking within the required front yard setback along Newtown Road. Section 8C1C, to permit parking spaces within the front yard setback along Newtown Road. That applies to two different sections. Section 8C3B, 1, to eliminate the requirement for 3 landscape islands marking the end of each row of vehicles for realigned parking. To permit 2 landscape islands to be less than 8 feet wide. To eliminate the requirement for 2 intermediate landscape islands in realigned parking area. To eliminate landscape island tree requirement in 2 islands adjacent to the relocated signs. To eliminate all street tree requirements, 11 total, along Newtown Road. And section 8C4, to reduce total required off-street parking by 13 parking spaces for the entire plaza. Section 8E3A3, to reduce the minimum required distance between 2 freestanding signs from 300 feet to 173 feet. And last but not least, section 8E5A, to reduce front lot line sign setback from 10 feet to 5 feet for two relocated freestanding signs along Newtown Road. Is anyone here to speak in favor of this application?
I would like to, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
This is, do you mind if I share the screen?
Go ahead, sure.
I'm going to show the map, Tom.
Yeah, go ahead. I look better this way anyway, Ben.
Can everyone see this?
Yeah.
More or less.
Go ahead.
So Ben and I are here representing Plum Trees Plaza LLC, which is owned by the Hawley family. You already saw that David beamed in from outer space. Hopefully you've all had the opportunity to review the application, and more particularly the cover letter that I attached to it, which explains in detail what we're looking for. The state of Connecticut has plans to widen and improve Newtown Road along this particular stretch, which includes in front of Plum Trees Plaza. And as part of those widening plans, the state took by eminent domain a large strip of land in front of Plum Trees Plaza. And that strip of land was in fact over 1/4 of an acre, which is quite significant in terms of the land being taken. The average depth of the land being taken was 25 feet. And Ben will run through the map with you in a few minutes. But in addition, as a result of this taking, the driveway entrance near the bank had to be moved and redesigned. And that redesign and moving of the driveway caused a loss of parking space. And as you know from many variance applications that you've had over the years, parking spaces are very valuable to commercial properties due to the parking formula in the zoning regulations. For instance, for retail properties, the property must have 1 parking space for every 150 square feet of retail floor area. So these parking spaces are precious. This taking of the property and the redesign caused the loss of 13 parking spaces. And the taking and the redesign has also necessitated the relocation of 2 commercial signs out near the road, out near Newtown Road. One of the variances that we're looking for in respect to the signs is for the separation distance. And one is to reduce the front lot minimum sign setback distance, again, because the setback was taken from us by the state of Connecticut. So as Mr. Moore read the laundry list of variances that we're looking for, keep one thing in mind. Every single variance we're looking for is due to the hardship of the taking by the state of Connecticut. The size of the gross area of the property was reduced by this taking, by the 1/4 of an acre that was taken away from the property. So because of that, we're looking for a variance to increase building coverage from 30% to 31.5%. It's not because the buildings have changed, it's just because the property shrunk because of eminent domain. So that was no fault of our own, so we're looking for a variance there as well. There's no room now in the required 20-foot deep.
One quick question. The taking was all along Newtown Road, right? That strip along Newtown.
Okay.
Okay.
Ben, can you go back to the other slide?
Yes, there you go. I accidentally deleted the highlighted part, Tom. Sorry.
Wow.
Okay,
I didn't even know how I did that, but I did.
Well, you can see the shaded area. That whole shaded area is outlining the whole.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, that's it.
Right.
All right.
So it's the entire frontage of Plum Trees Plaza on Newtown Road.
Okay.
And actually, this is a good time, Ben, why don't you take over in terms of talking about the various variances we need because of that taking of all that green area that is no longer going to be there?
Sure. For the record, Benjamin Dodo, licensed professional engineer. I'm here tonight representing the applicant. I've been working with David Hawley and Tom on this in conjunction with the DOT. It's a taking, but we have been in full communication with the DOT the entire time because of the significance of this take. As Attorney Beecher had mentioned, taking itself averages about 25 feet in width, that little area right there. Just to get a sense, here's the bank. I'm going to turn this one off in a second, and then Denny's is back here. This area here is Newtown Road. I'm going to go back to the site plan here and zoom in a little bit on the frontage. So I hope everyone can see that. So just to get a sense of where we are here, this is flipped around. Here is Denny's, and here's the bank. And everyone knows the main anchor of this is Aldi back here. The shopping center itself, we're not doing anything over on Plum Trees Road. There's 2 full access driveways on Plum Trees Road. Really what we're here for today is the Newtown Road stretch, including, just to show you, if you were to go out there today, this is the edge of pavement, this whole area. The future edge of pavement, when this project is starting pretty much now, is getting moved over to here to accommodate the DOT's widening. It's pretty significant. This is all existing parking right here. We're not moving the parking any closer to the road. We're just doing some reconfiguring and some repainting of it. When the DOT first came to us with the plan, the main concern was this existing bank driveway that many of you I'm sure are familiar with. It's a right turn in driveway that allows access to the shopping center and also the bank drive-through. And this sort of dictated a lot of the design changes we've made to the site. And I'm going to just sort of go over what we have now. Here's the bank, here's Denny's. Here is the right turn in driveway I was describing. And right now it works. Customers come in, they can go through the bank drive-through, or they can go on to the rest of the site. This was a plan done by the DOT. It was a preliminary plan done by them with what it would take by moving the right-of-way over. What it did was it really cramped the drive-through. For example, here's a pickup truck. The turning movement was an extremely tight 180-degree turn over a significant grade change at a short distance. It made getting into the drive-through very difficult. And not only that, it also made maneuvers for people wanting to go to the shopping center. They had to come in. They were directed right toward an existing handicap spot and flagpole and had to make a quick turn to the left to get there. So it really, trying to redo this driveway, roughly the existing spot, would have made a very difficult situation. So what we did was we looked at what we could do to make some improvements. And it was pretty obvious what to do, was to shift the driveway over to the east and align it with the main driveway aisle here, just like this. And what that allowed us to do was separate, and this would be totally closed, this driveway here. And that's what we're here for today. However, to do that, we had to also solve some traffic problems and potential problems, because we couldn't just cut into the site with a driveway. We had to construct some islands to isolate the bank drive-through lane and the parking, and also to provide good ingress and egress and safe traffic flow, and also to align existing and proposed traffic patterns in a better and safe manner. Keeping in mind our distance to the intersection over to the east, our driveway couldn't be too close to Plum Trees Road, which the intersection of Plum Trees Road is sort of right over here. So we needed to maintain a safe distance away from that due to vehicle stacking, lane changes, etc. So basically what we did was came up with this design in front of you today. And Due to the changes that we've made, the additional islands and landscaping, we lost those 13 spaces. And it's pretty straightforward why we lost them. It's just anytime you add grass and take out paint, you lose net parking. This also required us to make some other changes. The DOT, as we had mentioned, is moving the curbing, they're moving the sidewalk. The entire planting strip that we have right now, which is this whole area here, is gone. So our variances with respect to not having the planting strip and not having street trees are very straightforward. We don't have the room for them. There'll be a little bit of grass that the DOT will plant, both on the snow shelf and between the sidewalk and the property, but that's all we can have. The existing two signs, there's two existing signs. One sign's right here, which as of now, due to the taking, is in the right of way. And this existing sign, as you can see here, was right on the property line. And now it's way into the right of way. So what we're doing is we're relocating both of those signs as they are in their existing size on site. The parking regs require, the regs require 10, and we're asking for a 5-foot setback in both cases. In order to accommodate this sign, we actually put an island here, which caused us to lose a parking space, but it allows the sign to be a safe distance back from the road, and also give proper visibility and not overhang into the parking lot and cause problems with traffic flow. This sign, we couldn't simply move in because of the bank drive-through lane and the property line right here. So what we did is we shifted it this direction. Some of the other variances that we're asking for are end aisles. We're asking not to put an end aisles here and here. But as you can see, we currently don't have end aisles in either one of those cases. We're also asking not to have intermediate islands. I said aisles, I meant islands over here. And again, that's an existing condition that we currently don't have. And it would just have escalated the parking loss far beyond the 13 spaces that we feel was a bare minimum to make this site work in a nice manner. The other variances we're asking for are to have these two islands here be less than 8 feet wide. And you can see because of the angle they're at, to try to line up with the Denny's aisle, they sort of had to be there. And these islands really aren't for landscaping purposes. They're really more for traffic control. We're also asking not to put a tree here in this island because of its proximity to the sign. It'll just overgrow the sign. Likewise here, in this area, we're asking not to put a tree there as well because it would block this sign. So those are pretty much the variances that we're asking for. As Attorney Beecher had mentioned, they are all driven by the ability to, by the DOT need and to widen the road. One thing I do want to ask, and it's going to be a benefit to everything, and I think it's very important to the site design. The existing driveway right now is a right turn ingress only. There's no ability to exit the Plum Trees Plaza via Newtown Road. To exit the Plum Trees Plaza today, you have to leave over by Boston Market here. You either take a left to get to, if you want to head to 84 Newtown Road, or if you want to take a right to go to Plum Trees, or straight to go across the other shopping center, the Berkshire Shopping Center. So one of the things that we worked with the DOT on was, once we realized that we could improve this driveway aisle, we said, why can't we just, and we did work with them on this, put a right turn in and also add a right turn out. And one of the reasons there wasn't a right turn out before was people would use the driveway illegally, come in, a lot of times make a left or make a left out of a right turn, and that's commonly a problem. But part of the situation with this new design is the DOT is putting a center median island down this whole strip for safety purposes. So once you're here, at this site, if you were to come out of here, you can only go east and right because there will be an island down this whole stretch to prohibit people taking lefts out of Burger King or lefts out of here and going there. So we worked with the DOT on this design and they were supportive of it. They have included it in their future plans for when they're widening this. And it's a win-win-win to everybody. It's a win to the DOT from a traffic standpoint. It's a win to the city of Danbury on the local roads to alleviate traffic on Plumtrees and have people avoid. Right now, 100% of the cars coming out they want to get to Newtown Road, have to cross traffic, take an unprotected left to get to the traffic signal. Now they're going to have the option for those heading east on Newtown Road and 84. They're going to have the option to simply take a simple right turn out of there, and it'll alleviate traffic on the local road. And it's also going to be a plus to the Hollies at the Plumtrees Plaza, increasing on-site traffic circulation. You know, we are losing parking spaces. We were able to limit them to 13, but those are 13 needed spaces, and that's why we're also asking for that to be part of our variance as well. That we do comply with parking now, just barely, and it would throw us into a deficit if we didn't get that. So I think I've touched on everything. The one thing I did touch on, there's a requirement that separate standalone signs be 300 feet apart. We can't meet that here. We currently don't meet that right now. So that's one of the variances, that the existing signs can be reduced to 173 feet when you measure from this sign to this sign in this direction. And again, the reason we're moving the signs is because the right of way was widened. We currently are shy of 300 feet now. We're more than 178. I think we're at about 238 feet. We're still shy. We couldn't move it this way because, again, there's simply no room between the property line and the bank drive-through right in this area here. And then the rest of the variance, as far as parking in the front yard, driveway aisles in the front yard, drive-through lanes in the front yard, all those variances have to do with the property line getting moved approximately 25 feet closer to us. We complied with all of that prior to this taking. And that's my presentation, unless anyone has any questions.
I would just sum up by saying that this is a series of variances, but again, as we've been saying, they're all caused by the state taking of the 25-foot deep quarter of an acre, where there's a domino effect that taking set off that caused a redesign of the site. The granting of these variances isn't going to be detrimental to the neighborhood. There's certainly no impact on health, safety, and welfare. In fact, as Ben pointed out, the redesign is going to make it safer. Thank you.
I have a question. Is this final by the state, or is the state possibly able to come back and say, hey, we're going to take some more land, or make some readjustments to what you have planned out here?
No, as far as we know, in terms of the taking of the land, that's final. I mean, the state filed eminent domain, and it was ultimately resolved between Plumtrees LLC and the state of Connecticut. So this is the amount of land we want to take.
Okay, thank you.
And they're starting construction, David, correct?
They already
They're
did.
out there. Yes.
Yeah.
The two signs with the 5-foot rather than 10-foot setback, how far will they be from the edge of the new pavement?
I'm going to go to this one, Rod, here will be, probably, let's see, that's 18 feet. It's going to be about 8 or 9 feet in this direction. But only about probably 2 or 3 I'm gonna just show you, I'm gonna draw it. It's just, I can't help myself. Right over here, I was more concerned with this side distance of car doors opening and not hitting it. So that's one of the reasons we put the island here. That was Rod, right? Not you?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Over here, we're probably about 4 feet from the pavement here. And again, this is the bank drive-through lane where you're coming this way. But also this vehicle here wanted the ability of this car to be able to back out and leave without being too tight.
Now, how close are the other side of the sign to the new lane on Newtown Road that they're going to do? How close are they to that traffic?
Over here, oh, we're I'm gonna go to my machine right now and pick that off.
All right. I guess, has the sign placement been run by the state as well?
Yes.
Okay.
17 and they're both, I just went onto my machine. The distance from here to the pavement is about 17 feet.
Okay. All right.
In both cases. And what that allows for, it allows for the DOT to have this is their new edge of pavement right here.
Okay.
And it allows for them to have their edge of pavement, a snow shelf, a sidewalk, and then anywhere from, maybe another 10 feet to the sign. So there's plenty of room. In fact, I didn't show this earlier in the presentation, but you can see part of the taking also involves us removing this pavement here over on this side, over by the animal hospital.
Okay. All right. With 13 less parking spaces, how many spaces do you end up with?
We currently have 256. So we'd get to 243.
All right, 243. What, for that square footage, what is the requirement?
Well, as of today, this changes as tenants come and go.
Yeah.
I've got it right here on the plan. And of course, my head is covering it. So the requirement today is 247. So if we were to lose these 13, we would be non-compliant.
Okay.
But again, just what happens is every time a new tenant comes and goes, if there's a change of use, we have to either go through a revised site plan or a waiver to site plan, and we have to prove to planning and zoning that we have the parking. So sometimes that number goes up a little bit, sometimes it goes down, the required parking, based on the tenant and their use and whether there's seats in a restaurant or square footage of a retail unit. So we right now we have about 9 spare ones today.
Okay. Yeah.
And then if we lose 13, we'll go into a deficit by about 4 or so. So that's why we want to be able to keep those 13 in our back pocket. I mean, from a functional standpoint, there is not a parking problem at this plaza, but from a zoning standpoint, we're very tight.
Yeah, that's the issue, as I said earlier, that because of the formulas and because it's been stated, every time there's a new tenant, we have to recount and make sure that the parking spaces match up the various square footages of the type of uses, whether they're restaurants or retail or what have you. So again, this is not something that Plum Trees Plaza caused on its own. It's all a result of the taking by the state of Connecticut. So that's why we're asking for the variance to essentially replace the 13 spots we had to lose.
Okay.
And it sort of ties in with the coverage too. I mean, we complied with, one thing is we complied with coverage before. We're close, we're under 30, but now we're over 30. And it's very, it's all tied together. That's it.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No other questions from the commissioners? Okay, anyone else here to speak in favor of this application? Anyone here opposed? No opposition. Do we have a motion to close public hearing on 20-10?
I make a motion to close the hearing on 20-10.
Okay, second.
Second.
Johanna seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Make a motion to close, to open the voting session on 20-10. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to open session.
Okay, Joe makes a motion to open.
What?
Okay, second.
Second.
Second was Mr. Rivas, is that?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Whoever wants to make a motion on this, maybe not Joe, only because it's going to take a little while.
I make a motion to approve 20-10 Plum Trees Plaza LLC, Newtown Road, Section 5A3 to increase maximum building coverage from 30% to 31.5%. Section 5H1B to eliminate 20-foot front yard parking strip required along Newtown Road and to permit parking through lane and driveway aisles within the 20-foot strip along Newtown Road. Section 5.H.2 to permit parking with required front yard setback along Newtown Road. Section 8C1C2 to permit parking spaces within front yard setback along Newtown Road. Section 833B1 to eliminate the requirement for 3 landscape islands marking the end of each row of the vehicles for alignment of parking. Permit 2 landscape islands to be less than 8 feet wide, to eliminate the requirement for 2 intermediate landscape islands in a realignment parking area, to eliminate landscape island requirement in 2 islands adjacent to relocated signs, to eliminate all street tree requirements, 11 total along Newtown Road. Section 8C4 to reduce total required off-street parking by 13 spaces for entire plaza. Section 8.8E3A3 to reduce minimum required distance between 2 freestanding signs from 300 feet to 173 feet. And Section 8E5A to reduce front lot line sign setback from 10 feet to 5 feet for 2 relocated freestanding signs along Newtown Road per plan submitted.
Second?
Second.
Second that.
Mr. Sibbett seconds. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved unanimously. Thank you very much.
Nice job, guys.
Thank you very much.
One last item. I'm sorry, Ben, you had something? You're just
No,
waiting.
thank
Just
you.
waiting.
Thank
Okay. Okay. All right. One last item on our agenda is zoning board of appeals bylaws, the draft of that. I must admit, I did not get a chance to digest a whole lot of that. Sharon, what's our timing on this? Eventually we're going to have to vote on these bylaws. We need them, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. There's no time requirement at the moment. I would just urge everybody to take a look at them.
Yep.
And at the next meeting, if you don't have any questions or comments, then ask the Corporation Council with Mary and Sean to put it in final form so that you have, a set of bylaws.
Okay, let's do that. Okay. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I guess Johanna was first. Mr. Rivera, seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, amen. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, I'm